Hello everyone, Ace here, and today I've decided to have yet another look at some video game history, and in the process answer the question, what exactly made F.E.A.R great? First released all the way back in 2005 for the PC as the first in the F.E.A.R franchise, and later getting ported to both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, F.E.A.R, aka F.E.A.R First Encounter Assault Recon, is a genuinely beloved classic, so much so that it has spawned also spiritual successors such as Trepang 2. But to understand why this game is so well liked, let's talk about what exactly made it great. And the first thing that helped make this game great was that it was a technical marvel. It was known as a game that was rather power hungry for the era, however that was for very good reason. The lighting effects in this game have absolutely held up spectacularly, and make the game look far younger than it actually is. But the real star of the show comes into play once you actually start to utilize some of the weapons within the game, that star being the effects. The developers have been quoted as saying that they were inspired by John Woo films, and it very clearly shows. Gun battles in this game can be best described as thousands of miniature explosions going off all around the scenery, mixed in with the viscera and gore produced by the effects of your weapons. Turning enemies into spray with your shotgun does not get old, and utilizing the various forms of automatics that you get throughout the game turns the gunplay into an absolute visual spectacle to behold, especially when you utilize the bullet time mechanics found within the game, which you will absolutely be doing thanks to a couple of other things that both helped make this game great: the AI and the level design. Now, a fellow YouTuber named Mandalore Gaming has already covered this in the past, and there is going to be a fair amount of overlap with regards to what's being discussed here, but the simple truth of the matter is that the AI was extremely well designed. The AI in this game loves to keep the pressure on the player. It is a notably aggressive AI, but it is not a suicidal AI. These are enemies that will absolutely go out of their way to flank you, as well as try to pin you down so their buddies can move move in for the kill. This is a game where you cannot stay stationary for too long because it will get you killed very quickly. But of course you could have the best AI in the world and it would be for nothing if the level design wasn't up to par with it. Fortunately, it very much is up to par with the state of the AI in this game. The gun battles that you'll be facing can be best described as in miniature arenas of sorts. Yes, these are going to be office spaces or sewers or what have you, but at the end of the day, these are locations which offer multiple avenues of attack for both the player as well as the AI, meaning that you will be at constant risk of being flanked throughout the game as well. But of course, you can do that to the AI too. And there are a few things more satisfying than defeating an entire squad of worthy foes with a single well-placed hand grenade. This game is very much a case of the greater the challenge, the greater the reward. It is also a case of the game's various elements being designed purposely for one another, and interacting in ways that complement one another. Fantastic visual effects that meshes extremely well with the gunplay, making the latter feel all that more visceral and impactful than it otherwise would be. Competently designed AI, meshing with level design that is just the right amount of maze-like. Not too maze-like to be confusing to the player, but plenty maze-like to offer both the player and the AI many opportunities to flank one another. There is one final piece of the puzzle though with regards to making the AI seem all that more impressive to the player. Another thing that helped make the game great, the audio callouts. Similar to Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, this game offers a lot of audio callouts for the enemy AI, enabling them to interact with one another to help immerse the player, as well as sell the fact that the AI is engaging in teamwork to try to take the player down. What sets the voice callouts apart in this game, as opposed to even Splinter Cell Chaos Theory though, is how specific they get. When the game has different voice callouts with regards to whether or not the player is behind a sofa versus a couch, the way that this game does, well, it certainly helps further immerse the player into the experience and makes the AI seem even more competent than it otherwise would be considered. And this is still good AI. Very good AI for the reasons I've already explained. But it is also a case study of how good AI ultimately does, at the end of the day, require other aspects of the game to be excellent and meshing well with it in order to truly shine. For those who need proof of this, look no further than the Perseus Mandate expansion, which is not a good expansion at all, sadly, and shows what happens when you pair the very good AI here with level design that it's just not designed to handle. The end result in that expansion being far less than the sum of its parts. But to move quickly back to the original F.E.A.R itself, I do need to bring up another thing that helped make this game great, because as you could probably guess, with a name like F.E.A.R, this is indeed a horror game, and it's not exclusively gun battles. And so the question ultimately becomes whether or not the horror is actually good. And the short answer is yes. Okay, the horror sections are entirely scripted, and so I can't exactly get into too much detail on how good they are without spoiling them, which is probably why I'm mostly only going to show earlier segments within the game. But the horror sections are supposed to be the more slower paced parts of the game, to the tune that it almost feels like a different game altogether. But the horror is very effective, and means that even when players are given a break from the action, the game itself remains as tense as ever, especially when it starts sending invisible ambushers to try to attack you during the sections that you would think would be the horror sections of the game. So the fact that this game manages to be a fun and engaging horror game as much as it is a fun and engaging FPS is definitely another thing that helped make it great. And at the end of the day, in summary, what we end up with here is a game with absolutely stunning visuals, mixed with gunplay that makes the absolute most out of said visuals, as well as excellent AI with level design that seems to be purpose-built for said AI, and of course a game that does horror as well, and very competently so, all wrapped up in one neat little package. It is an excellent game to play during the Halloween season. And with all of that said, this has been Ace, and I hope you'll agree when I say that F.E.A.R is great.